And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the grand finals of our very first Tenacious Turtle Tussle #1, our very first edition of this tournament, our very first finals. And we're about to have our very first champion, and it's going to be one of these two players, because spawning in the top right hand corner of altitude, we have the Canadian Protoss representing Team Basilisk. It is Trigger. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of altitude, we have his opponents. We have the Brazilian Zerg player. He's one of our own. He's one of the Cranky Ducklings. It is Erik. Let's go, Poppy. Let's go. As a reminder, this is a best of 5, not a best of 3. Predictions will soon be open. I'll just I need to quickly get in. Let me quickly just set up the predictions and we can get this underway. Meanwhile, we do once again have a very aggressive opener coming out from Erik. Very bold move to pull this off on a map as large as altitude. Not gonna lie, mate. Not gonna lie. Aye. Let's quickly set this up. And yes, you have a couple of minutes from hearing this message to place your bets on who you believe is going to be this week's champion. Whether it's going to be the Canadian Protoss or the Brazilian Zerg. The choice is yours, as we do have a hatch block across the map as well. Again, sorry, I was just setting up the predictions. We did have a hatch block being set up as well from Erik. Again, is this designed to be aggressive? No, it's just designed to throw a wrench in the works and try and slow down the economy of the Protoss. To try and do this on altitude is crazy. Trigger responds here by pulling 4 of his probes and chronoing out that first Zeld as well. We have a second Zeld on the way. Trigger very taking this very seriously. Is going to be shutting this down. Meanwhile, across the map, we do see Trigger with his probe scout did confirm that Erik is expanding, that Erik is macroing from this point. We do see Erik throwing down his natural and his third base as quickly as possible. And pulling out of gas as soon as he has enough rolling speed. There we go. There we go. Very crisp opener here from Erik. He's once again just trying his hardest to delay the Nexus for as long as possible. Trigger banking up a lot of minerals. Finally, he'll be able to throw it down. But a very delayed base. Now, Erik has to deal with what he has caused here. What I mean by that is Trigger was forced to make Zealots and to make Adepts. And to make a second gateway as well before his Nexus. So he's going to have a lot of gateway units. And Erik is going to have to deal with this. Thankfully, he will soon have Ling speed. He has to have enough Lings as well. And we'll see if Trigger, or how aggressive Trigger is going to be, how much he sends across the map. First Adept is about to reveal itself, just confirming that we do have 3 hatcheries on the way for Erik. Chipping away at that natural. 2 more Adepts are coming up behind this. And Trigger is going for a Stargate opener. Everything looking standard. Everything looking standard here for Trigger. Oh, Lings. Oh, actually, I thought that was a full wall, but no, they get a surround on the first Adept. The Adept goes down. We do have 2 more Adepts showing up here at the third base, but no, we did have a very quick gas trick. Erik not losing much of anything here. I don't know if he has enough Lings to deal with these Adepts, but oh, never mind. I spoke too soon. The Adepts are getting cleaned up and Trigger is forced back, but the next stage here for Trigger is on the way. We should be seeing an Oracle opening, and Erik, is he going to be ready for this? He does typically like to skip out on Queens, and this base layout here is a little bit difficult to defend as well, just because we don't have creep connecting all the bases. Erik needs to set up in time and make sure he's ready for that first Oracle. Erik hasn't really been able to scout too much. He hasn't been able to go into the main base, so he doesn't know whether it's a Stargate or a Twilight Council opener. He is in the dark. Oh, as he attempts to dip on in, sees an abundance of Adepts, and he should be able to piece together that this is not a Twilight Council opener. We have a third base on the way as well, is spotted by Erik with that Spotterling. And do we have enough queens in position? We have 2 queens towards the natural, 1 in the main, 2 at the third. Ooh, nicely done here. We're able to deal some whole damage to the Oracle. So far, we've gotten away with not throwing down spores, but I don't know if that's something we want to rely on. As Trigger delays his third and goes for Glaives. This is going to be a really awkward timing here. Glaives is not a common follow-up after an Oracle opener here, so this could catch Erik off guard. And here we go, the Oracle dips into the natural base. 5 drones going down. Up. 5 drones for an Oracle. That's actually not the best trade for Trigger. It's okay, but we want to get around 7 workers, to be honest. We have 24 Lings coming up behind this as well. These Lings are looking to deny this third base. They'll also be out in time to deal with all these Adepts. Bearing in mind that Glaives is soon about to finish and we don't have a Prism with this, we cannot reinforce across the map. Here we go, the Adepts have been spotted. Ooh, Erik committing to a fight pretty early on here is going to be losing a decent chunk of his Lings, but here we go, he reinforces. The Oracles are going to be able to support here, but the Adepts are being cleaned up just before Glaives finishes. Meanwhile, Erik's still not really droning. He's content here at around the 42 drone mark. He's got 18 more Lings on the way of Roach Warren behind this as well. Again, Erik really wants to try and shut down this third. And Trigger doesn't have a shield battery here. It's a little bit late, or that's even a pylon, not even a shield battery. He's hoping to keep the Lings busy with these Adepts. And he should. Boy, they shadowed in. Glaives have finished up. At the same time, we do have that Ling counterattack, but the warp in is quite solid here for Trigger. Erik has a really awkward time engaging. And this is a little bit scary for Erik. As the Oracle goes down. What's scary is that Erik has been investing a lot in these Lings. We've lost... Look at the units lost tab. We've lost 73 Lings this game. 73. And we haven't been able to cancel the third. That's the least that Erik wanted. Without doing this, Erik's behind economically. His drone count is kind of in the gutter right now. All these Lings could have been drones, but maybe he can make up for it because the wall is not a wall and the Lings get into the main. How? How is he doing this? At the same time, we have a Ling counterattack here at the third base as well. There are units in position, so I don't really see these Lings doing too much damage. The ones in the main, oh, he targets the Nexus by accident. Oh, that's a lot of DPS wasted on the Nexus, not on the probes. Ay. This could have been a little bit better for Erik. He gets 6-7 probes in total. Not bad, but could have been better. As Erik has to calm down from this point, we have +1 melee on the way. We're getting into Roach production. We've droned up a little bit. We've droned up to 56 at this point. Which I guess is going to be enough to facilitate what Erik wants this game. But the pressure, honestly, is still on Erik to deal damage. That's how all of his PvZs are. Every single ZVP from Erik is like, mate, he needs to do damage, otherwise he's going to be in a lot of trouble. And then he deals the damage. he somehow pulls it off. And we're in that situation once again. Erik needs to try and break into one of these bases. I just don't know if he has the numbers for it. Here we go, he's going to be distracting Trigger here at the third base. At the same time, he's breaking into the natural. The Colossus does show up, though. Oh, is it even going to matter? Colossus not the ideal unit against these Roaches. They're going straight for the mineral line, straight for those probes. At the same time, the third is finally being broken. The one thing that Erik wanted this game, and he has finally got it. The Colossi are busy here at the natural. 6 probes going down. Not too many workers, but the Nexus falls. It's like, I'm like, all right, look, Erik, he needs to kill the third. He's like, all right, I'll kill it. I'll kill the third, Poppy. You just ask and I'll pull it off. And here we go. We don't really have too much of a buffer for these Colossus. The boys are being pulled. Oh my god, the Colossus are barely going to be able to survive, but the probes are falling left and right. Erik, I'm sure, very content with the damage that he's dealt. Trigger getting supply blocked right now. He's up to 3 Colossi. It's a lot of Colossi, but he doesn't have the economy. He doesn't have the buffer that these Colossi need. He can't. He's supply blocked. He cannot warp in. And Erik is getting ready for the second wave, making more Roaches, more Lings, +1 range behind this as well. Erik getting a supply block of his own. But he does have 6 Overlords on the way. Oh, I kind of like this from Trigger. He's in a really rough spot. How do we protect these Colossus? Force fields. We have a lot of sentries here for all of those force fields to try to keep these Colossi alive. Not a lot of Ravagers to deal with those force fields, so Trigger can defend here with this army. It is going to be possible. As time goes on, we're going to be banking up more and more of that energy. Meanwhile, hey, Erik, he's not committed to just a roach push, by the way. He's not confined to your rules and regulations. We have a Spire on the way and an Infestation Pit. We're getting all the tech. We're not really droning too much, but we're getting the tech. That's all we need. Ugh. And here we go. Erik, he's just going to be chilling here for a little bit. I do worry that Erik is missing his timing. I say that. Erik is about to max out. Erik is literally about to max out, and Trigger is still struggling to saturate this third base. So Erik is fine to just back off for a little bit here, to drone up, to tech up. We have our hive on the way. He's waiting for his moment. He's waiting for the 1-2 punch. We're banking up a lot of gas. It looks like we're going to go for a muta, kind of a muta run by, a flyby into the main base, and then we're going to be hitting the third with the roaches. We'll see if that's going to come to pass. The Spire is now done. We're going to be scouting, confirming the army. We have Blink. Okay, we do have Blink. Thankfully. And Erik, despite finishing the Spire, he has not gone for mutas. He has maxed out here on roaches, on almost pure roach at this point. He's going to be pushing on forward here. His army is getting split up though. He's trying to get on top of these Colossi, but the force fields are slowing him down. 20 more roaches behind this. Can he get on top of the Colossus? It looks like he barely cannot. At the same time, he doesn't care, because really his goal is to slip into the main base, into the natural, and pick off more probes. Oh, how does he do it? How does he do it? This main army is kind of running into a wall of Protoss, and this Roach Ravager isn't going to be able to do too much damage. He tries to get the Colossus once again, but he will not get it. At the same time, the Roaches are getting into the main, but not a lot of workers are falling. Only 7 probes going down. Erik investing so much into this, and he's not getting too much return. I spoke too soon though, because he unburrows. He does have that burrow. Takes out even more workers in the main base. And Trigger is having a hard time keeping up. His army supply is slowly getting higher and higher, to be fair. His Colossus count is quite stable. But we still have roaches in these mineral lines. More probes falling. We're remaxing here with Corruptors. Corruptors are going to be able to take out the Colossus. Are we going to have enough on the ground though to clean up all these Stalkers? That's what I'm worried about. Erik looking to remax once again. Try and power through what Trigger has left. Boy, we'll see if he can pull it off here. Trigger with his 2 Colossi, with a Prism as well to micro and keep it alive. You love to see it. He has a pretty comparable army to his opponent, not gonna lie. We have a couple of force fields being thrown down as well, but here come the Corruptors, and they dive immediately. They just annihilate the Prism. They take down all the Colossi. But now, how can they support the army? Do they need to support the army? As the Ling Roach is gonna push on through, getting on top of these Stalkers. There's not much left here for Trigger. And Erik, with a really chaotic start, is looking to take the first game in these finals. He's bleeding out a lot of roaches, but mate, the Corruptors are going ham in the main and the natural, just focusing down, causing, spraying down whatever he can. The Nexus, the Robo, the Maze. And he's gonna get them. Ooh, the Nexus goes down. The Roach Ling army continuing to push into the third base. We have an overcharge to keep what we can alive. Overcharge is good, but it's not that good. Erik just forced to back off once again, but he's already done what he needed to. He killed the hatchery. Sorry, he killed the Nexus. He killed all the Colossus. He killed the Prism. And now he has Adrenal. He has Adrenal Glands. Oof. And with that, they're just gonna dive on top of these Stalkers. Stalkers having a really hard time against these things. The Roaches and the Ravagers pushing on through. GG gets called, and Erik takes game number 1. Ooh. Wait, Trigger who? Ay, ay, ay. Erik on fire takes that first game. It all started with a proxy hatch. Remember that. A hatch block, I should say. A hatch block in the natural of Trigger. That's where it all started. Well, full opener. These games always get messy when Erik is involved, but he likes it messy. He likes it, Pop. It's where he thrives. That's who he is. And as we get into this, yo, a massive shout out to Air Orange in the chat. It was happening during the first game, but he did tip $6.90. Nice. Thank you so much, Air Orange. We appreciate it. We appreciate the support. Thank you, Poppy. Thank you. As always, Air Orange been a long-time supporter for the channel. And yeah, again, any money that we make here through donations or through bits, it all goes back into these tournaments that we're hosting right now. These very tournaments. As we're getting back into this NA versus LatAm Grand Finals, and in the bottom left-hand corner, representing North America, representing Canada, we have the Blue Protoss player on Team Basilisk. It is Trigger. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Royal Blood, standing tall for all of Latino America, up 1-0 in this best of 5 series on the Cranky Ducklings. It's the Brazilian Zerg. It is Erik. Oh, let's go, Poppy. Let's go. Wait for that 15 hatch. Even when Erik hatch first, it's never a normal hatch first. Never. Just keep them guessing, man. Keep them guessing. So yeah, just going for that extractor trick, going for a 15 hatchery here, as Erik does tend to do, going for the pool follow-up as well. We saw this earlier against Smile. We saw it against Nice. We're seeing it here as well. We didn't see it against Nice. We saw it against Smile. It's just one of Erik's many go-to openers. And we'll see how he goes from here. It's relatively safe. He does get an earlier spawning pool. With this, I believe the queens are lined up as well. We're going to be delaying our gas a little bit, so we're not going to have as crisp of a link speed timing, but we may not need it, as Trigger is going just for a gate expand. Standard opener here from Trigger. Very economic, very standard. Oh, and Trigger, thankfully, is going to be able to have a normal opener to game number 2. Game 1, again, was really chaotic and really awkward for Trigger just because of the hatch block and the lings that were flooding across the map. Now he's going to be able to return to normalcy and calm down. Both players can, I guess. But, you know, just because the opener here from Erik is a little bit more standard doesn't mean he isn't going to be aggressive at the drop of a dime. At any moment's notice, he is willing to just, I don't know, skip link speed, go straight for a Roach Warren, do anything crazy. Speaking of, we do have our 100 gas here for link speed. There we go, it does commence. And Erik doesn't pull out completely from gas, only pulls out 2. He's going to keep it mining for the time being. Overlord dips into the main base, confirming the Stargate opener. Erik is fully aware now that oracles are soon going to be on the map. We'll be preparing for them. We love to see it. Is Erik single? Let's go, Poppy. Let's go. I cannot confirm or deny. We're going for a queen walk. What's happening right now? I just... For a moment, I was distracted by the chat, and the queens, they're waddling across the map. 2 of them at least. Not all of them even. Link speed is about to kick in. I guess Erik is link flooding, but he's still droning, and he's getting spores. This is such a weird proxy hatch at the 3-minute mark. We're crazy, Poppy. Oh my god! he goes for the cancel just for the creep. Mate, he's lost his mind. Let's go. Trigger has no idea. The queens randomly showing up as well. The third base is going to be denied. Immediately, we have shield batteries on the way as Erik is flooding Lings across the map, but still droning. He has a third. Like, this is still a macro follow-up. But Trigger doesn't know. He's freaking out. He's freaking out right now. Oh my god. He's pulling the boys. And we're just droning. We're just droning, Papi. It's just a joke. Oh my god. Here we go, mate. Here we go. Erik behind this is taking his gases. He's going to be saturating his bases. That one Oracle's going to show up, but you know what? We have Queens and Spores in position. 3 shield batteries, and we don't commit to the third. How did we do this? 2 Queens and a handful of Lings. Erik with the mind games, Papi, with the mind games. Oh my god. And you know what's crazy about this? You know what he's going to do? He's going to spread creep to both third bases. So detection is going to be required if we want to expand. Trigger is being contained to 2 bases right now by these queens. Wild. Absolutely. And now the queens can walk back home if they wanted to. I'm in awe right now. I'm actually in awe. I see Ranger in the chat. When we were in Korea, he was always nice to me. I was mentioning earlier, yeah, that Erik did spend time in Korea in the Foreigner team house with Scarlet with no regret. With Ranger as well. Ranger also was in Korea, for those who don't know, a couple of years ago. But here we go behind this as Erik is spreading creep backwards from across the map. 2 Void Rays are about to show up, and this is dangerous because Erik doesn't have a lot of queens. These Void Rays can go uncontested. The queens all have to be brought over to defend. At the same time, the Oracle dips on in, try and find some more damage. The Gas Geyser is going to be focused down. Oh my god. Only the Gas Geyser though. Could have been a lot worse. Is looking to be a lot worse. Trigger doing whatever he can to come back in this game. See Rowdy in the chat. Husbando Erik. The housewife himself. Oh my god! No reaction. Stasis Trap is gonna go off, getting the majority of that mineral line. Again, Trigger is not gonna take this lying down. Despite the fact that he's in a really awkward position, he's doing everything he can to come back in this game. Whether it's Void Ray Harass, whether it's these Stasis Traps, we have DTs on the way. They're being warped in as we speak, but the Prism almost getting sniped by those queens, but the DTs have been revealed. 4 Overseers are on the way. More DTs being warped in. We're going into an Archon drop follow-up. My god. Trigger just going deep into the book of Protoss shenanigans. We gotta do it. We gotta do it all, Papi. We gotta do it all. Void Ray is going for another Gas Geyser. The queens were preoccupied trying to deal with that Prism. Another gas is gonna go down. More DTs on the way. We're gonna be hitting a bit of a awkward charge lot Archon all in, basically off of 2 bases. Boy, here we go. Does a Trigger have enough? Very committed with this push. We do have a lot of roaches to receive this though. No spine crawlers. The queens are here at the natural. We need everything to defend, and here we go. Trigger is going for it. Erik now finally has eyes. He throws down the Hydra Den. But look at how many roaches we have. The Zealots are gonna do nothing. The Void Rays are doing what they can, but the queens are coming into support. And there's so much detection as well. DTs are not going to be able to pull this off. Erik just completely shuts this down. The Zealots crumble. The Archons as well. The Void Rays get targeted down. And the Prism doesn't have that much energy, sorry, that much health left to be too aggressive and too cavalier. Trigger just smashes into a wall of Zerg. Meanwhile, the creep. Look at that creep spread. It's insane, Papi. It's insane. Let's go. Let's go. Another Oracle dipping in towards that third base. Getting a couple of drone kills. And yeah, Erik is in full control. Like, the scariest moment was the moment that just transpired where Trigger went for the all-in. Thankfully, Trigger has all these shield batteries from the early game. So he's going to be able to, you know, defend against this. We have the overcharge as well, but we don't care about the overcharge. We focus down the cyber core anyway. Erik has to be careful not to overcommit though. He's pushing in pretty far. Into an Immortal. The boys are being pulled, but we don't have much to support the Immortal. A lot of probes are falling. And Erik, he's already leading the series. He's going to be leading the series even more. We have a warping across the map. We have a recall instead because Erik is all over the place. Roach is at home. Roach is across the map. 19 probes fall. And Trigger is fueled by nothing but copium right now. He's pulling a page out of the Terran book at this point. Ay. Doing what he can to survive. I just can't, I just look at the minimap and I can't believe what I'm seeing. Erik pushes on forward, looking to break his opponents for the final time here. We have detection, GG gets called, and Erik takes a 2-0 lead in this series. Damn. Oh, GG. GG, Papi. I don't know what to say. Oh, I don't know what to say, Papi. Erik, one game away from 3-0ing Trigger. Trigger, who's one of the best players in North America. Straight up top 3 player, maybe even top 2, because I'm pretty sure Neeb is looking to retire. Estrella and Trigger, they're up there. And Erik, he doesn't care. Hey, what? Dark who? Erik, Trigger what? I'm just gonna clown all over you. Erik, his brain is just built different. His mind. Beautiful. It's beautiful. A thing of beauty, mate. A thing of beauty. Ay. What else is there to say? He is like no other. He is like no other. And we'll see if he can if he can pull off the clean sweep. One more game is all he needs to be this week's Tenacious Turtle Tussle. And mate, Erik is tenacious. I can tell you that. And Trigger, his mind is being blown as we speak, but it's still Trigger. We still gotta respect his skill, his play, and you know, now is his moment to come back. It's gonna be a rough map though, because we're loading into the smallest map in the map pool, Neo Humanity. Oh boy. Let's go. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Neo Humanity, we have the Canadian Protoss player, the North American representative in this tournament. Can he bring it back here and now? He has to. It is Trigger. Representing Team Basilisk. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Neo Humanity, we have his opponent going for a 15 pool opener. Going for a pool first. We have the Brazilian Zerg, the Latin American representative, as well as the Cranky Duckling. It is Erik. One game away from winning it all. Madman. Absolute madman. He's crazy, Papi. He's crazy. This week, he already 2-0 Dark. He already 2-0 Dark. Last week, he 2-1 Dark. And he was even admitting himself a couple of days ago in Discord. Erik was saying like, hey, I still need to figure out what to do against Protoss and what to do against Terran. His ZVZ is on lockdown, but apparently in those handful of days, Erik, he's figured it out. I don't know what he figured out, but here we go. He's pulling a Rainer, he's pulling a Serral. His natural is at the forward base location with the Rich Vespene Gas Geyser. We saw this a lot. We saw this a lot at IM Katowice. Both Serral and Rainer pulling off these Roach all-ins using this Rich Vespene Gas Geyser. But this is a little bit different. Erik did go for a pool first. He went for a pool gas hatch opener. Delayed his hatchery just to have map control early on. And with this is a launch pad for that creep spread. It can kind of excel past the halfway mark very quickly. And with that gas geyser, we're going to have a lot of gas to make a lot of roaches. Now, I'm making some assumptions here because that is what logically I would assume with this like kind of build with what we're seeing right now. But it's Erik. It's Erik. And the reality is that he does whatever the hell he wants to do. For all I know, he could go into an infestation pit and go into swarm host again. Not the first time he's done it today. So really, We can assume all we want, but we are here to bear witness to what Erik has to offer on Neo Humanity. The hell's he gonna do? I don't know. I just want to watch. I just want to sit back and watch, Bobby. That's all I want. Here we go. We're going for a Ling Flood, by the way. Erik cutting drones at 19. A lot of Lings are going to be coming out. Looking to shut down this Adept. Erik is droning behind these Lings, so looks like these are defensive overall. Just looking to make sure that the Adept doesn't get too much damage. Oh, actually, he avoids the Adept because he's got plenty more Lings back at home. He's going across the map, and he's going to force a defensive reaction out of Trigger. We have a second pylon here as a part of the wall. We have a shield battery as well. But that shield battery is looking a little late. This Adept is going to go down. Oh, God, it looks like it's barely going to be able to shade on the other side of that wall. Is saved in the end. But the Ling Flood is continuing, and the Cyber Core is under threat. Oh, can the shield battery finish in time to protect the Cyber Core? It looks like the Adept pops out. Cyber Core is saved. Trigger is kept at home. What does Erik have in store for us? He hasn't taken that gas geyser yet. We have a Stargate opening from Trigger. Oracle is going to be zooming across the map. A lot of Lings were invested here from Erik, and he didn't really get too much for it. Looking at the units lost tab, 11 Lings for 1 Adept. Only a singular Adept, so not the best trade here from Erik. He's starting this. He's starting the creep spread, and he is starting to work on those rocks as well. Let's go, Bobby. Let's go. First Oracle is zooming across the map. Only 1 queen to defend, and yeah, Trigger is looking to abuse that. He gets 1 drone, 2. He's gonna get 3. Can we get 5? Can we get 6? Oh, we are gonna get 5 in the end. The Oracle barely surviving with 1 HP. 1 HP. The Oracle gets out of there. Is gonna be able to regenerate those shields and come back in. Meanwhile, the second Oracle shows up as well. Does get eyes on the creep spread, and I love this. I loved this. Uses the Revelation to try and stop the creep spread, but didn't have enough energy in the end. The creep survives. That's unlucky. That's actually really unfortunate. Oh boy. The creep spread will continue. Erik taking that Rich Vespine gas geyser. Roach Warren is thrown down. The launch pad is continuing. Oh, but we could get a lot of drone damage here. Yeah, Trigger does take note of the transferring workers. The Queen a little bit late to react. 2 more drones go down. Very nicely done. Yeah, so far, Trigger's play has been pretty solid this game. Like, he's been minimizing his losses. He's been doing a lot of counter damage. A lot of drones have been falling. A lot of Lings have been trading inefficiently. This is kind of best case scenario here for Trigger. Even picking up some of those creep tumors. Speaking of, there we go. Another active creep tumor going to be going down. And Erik, it looks like he's done droning. That roach push that we were talking about at the start of the game. Here we go. Roaches and Lings are flooding across the map. Erik is going to be going for 1 big all-in. This third base isn't ready. We have 3 shield batteries here at the third. Trigger is preparing. He's got cannons as well. He knows that the all-in is coming, and he's preparing for it. He will not be caught with his pants down. Is it going to be enough, though? Erik hasn't seen this. He doesn't know what he's pushing into. If he did, I think he would start droning. We even have a stasis trap as well. I don't know if this is going to work out for Erik. The stasis... Up! Gets triggered by only a handful of Lings. The cannons and shield batteries have been spotted. Erik, does he believe? Another stasis trap gets thrown down as well. Was it spotted by Erik? I don't know. The Biles are going to be connecting here on the cannon, but the shield battery forces Erik back. Transfuse is going to be keeping the Queens alive. More Lings are on the way. Erik has to find another angle. It looks like maybe he wants to attack the natural. He's thinking about it. Because this third is heavily fortified. Mate, you thought 3 shield batteries was enough? Mate, we've got 3 more on the way. 3 more shield batteries. We got more cannons as well. Trigger taking this very seriously. Here we go. The Biles are going to be connecting one of the cannons. 2 cannons are going to be going down, but we still have so many Stalkers. The cannons did their job. They shaved off those Lings. Erik is on a timer right now. Oh, but he's losing Ravagers. I don't think this is the fight we want to be taking. Erik losing a lot here. The Bile's kind of connecting. Queens are pushing forward as well, but the Ravagers are being focused down. With the death of those Ravagers, I believe Trigger has done it. He's fighting back in this series. He is defending this third base. Of all the builds that have happened so far, out of every single game this series, this is the most standard from Erik. This is the most obvious as well. These roach pushes have become quite common on Neo Humanity. And Trigger didn't even confirm the scout, but he was preparing for it anyway. He knew what was coming. As we have that fourth base on the way, Ravager after Ravager being focused down. Erik desperate to try and take a fight here, but he just, again, doesn't really have the army. Not anymore. We have another overcharge. It's going to get biled down. Lings are doing a really good job tanking. Don't get me wrong. Can he get some probe kills? If he can take down the mineral line, then he can make this worth it. The shield batteries are running out of energy. The files are connecting. Erik is slowly pushing through. I'm impressed. The shield batteries are actually out of energy right now. Oh, but the queens end up falling. No more transfuses. Erik running out of steam. He should be running out of steam, but he's still just rallying more across the map. He's going to rotate over towards the natural. And the wall is not a wall. The Ling's going to get into the main base. Damage is going to be done. Do have Zealots being warped in, though. Meanwhile, at the same time, the main armies are clashing once again. Erik's still looking to break into the third. Forcing a recall, even. Oh my god. But at the same time, the Oracles, like, Trigger feels so confident in his defense that he doesn't even need to stay at home to defend. Does go for a bit of a counterattack. Picks off 2 more drones. Up! Oh, he's going to be able to almost take down that Cyber Core. Almost. Biting some more damage. Oh, can he somehow pull this? We have an Immortal. It's not just Stalkers anymore. We have an Immortal. We have +1 attack as well. Erik takes down the Cyber Core, which means only Zealots can be warped in, but I think Trigger's going to be okay with that. Cyber Core already being rebuilt. A couple of these Stalkers are getting caught out. But are they really being caught out because Trigger is going for the surround? Coming in from multiple angles. And Trigger was even able to get a 4th base up as well. Oh, I appreciate the effort here from Erik, but the 3-0 is looking to be quite unlikely here. Biles are connecting with the Stalkers, don't get me wrong. They are connecting, but the Lings are running out. Oh, the spread of Biles, honestly, was looking pretty damn good, but the Stalkers have been able to trade a little bit too efficiently over the course of this game. So much stack defense was invested here. So many shield batteries, so many cannons. The Immortal goes down, but we have the aggressive blink on forward. Trigger with a mass surround on these Ravagers, and with the death of these Ravagers, that will be the end of this push. GG gets called, and Trigger fights back and puts a point on the board. Potentially the beginning of a comeback. Oh, GG. GG, well played. Trigger taking the all-in very seriously at an early stage, throwing down shield batteries at that 3rd base. He was so heavily fortified with cannons, shield batteries, stasis traps, Stalkers. He was so defensive, ready to receive whatever Erik would throw at him. And unfortunately, there was no transition point for Erik. There was no droning from that point, especially on Neo Humanity. If you back off and start droning, your opponent counterattacks immediately, just because of how small this map is. It's so difficult to pivot away from aggression. And here we go. Now we are going to be getting into game number 4. We have a series. we have a back and forth, which is what I expected from these two players. I would have been shocked if we had a 3-0 from either side. Even if Erik had 3-0'd, I wouldn't know what to say. I'd be like, man, that's crazy. But we have a more back and forth here. We're loading in to Dragon Scales. Let's go, Papi. Let's go. Here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner. In the top left-hand corner of Dragon Scales, we have the Canadian Protoss player fighting back in that last game, putting a point on the board, looking to make a series out of this, looking to bring it all the way to the ace match, representing Team Basilisk. It is Trigger. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Dragon Scales, we have his opponent. We have the Latin American representative from Brazil on the Cranky Ducklings. He's one of our own. Let's get some quacks in the chat. It is Erik. I see some people wondering in the chat as to what I said. The claims that I made, yes, all the VODs are here on the Cranky Ducklings. We did cast Erik both weeks in ESL Open Cup Americas. Erik did defeat Dark 2-1 2 weeks ago. And this week, he 2-0'd Dark as well. 2 weeks in a row, he's been dominant in the ZVZs. And now, looking dominant in the ZVPs as well, with just this hyper-aggressive style. Is it going to be enough, though, to overcome the might of Trigger? We are here to find out. Again, shout out to Erik. He's just been doing so well for himself. Doing so well, Papi. Fala galera. Fala galera. Shout out to Turkey Dano. Turkey Dano is a fellow Brazilian player as well. I'm sure cheering for his brethren on the screen in the tournament. And we'll see where we go from here. This time, no proxy hatchery across the map. This time, no hatch block either. Erik going to be calming down once again with his openers. Going to be prioritizing that gas mining and getting to link speed, I imagine. There we go. I was very curious. I was like, is he going to go for it? There we go. We do have link speed on the way. He pulls out of gas completely as well, just utilizing this for map control. And Trigger on the other side, he's just going to be the reactive player once again. It's really awkward to say that, all right? Like, this entire series, usually it's the Zerg player reacting to the Protoss, but this whole series it's been Trigger reacting to Erik. He has, because Erik is so aggressive, because he's so wild, Trigger has to be the one scouting and be the one responding. And he's been having a hard time. It's just not really the roles that these races play. Erik just flipping your norms on their head. Mate, you think the Zerg is meant to be reactive? Nah, mate. Not in my hands, Papi. As we have two Lings going across the map here. Oh, being very annoying, actually. Going to be delaying this gateway and looking to get a kill in that probe. We'll get that probe in the end. We will get a full wall off as well. Boys are forced off the line. And Erik is going to get a full scout. And it isn't just a full scout. He delays the gateway, he kills a probe, and confirms that Oracle. Behind this, what is Erik's response? His response? It's going to be a Ling Flood. 16 Lings are on the way for Erik. Oh, he traps that Adept as well. Ooh, the Adept will barely escape with its life. Just barely. Erik, again, he's aware of the Oracle, so we do see spores on the way in the main and the natural base. Lings are flooding across the map as we speak. And I imagine he's going to be waiting for the Adepts to move out or for the third base to be taken. The Adepts are looking exposed, and the Lings, they just dive on in. The Adepts get fully surrounded, and the wall's on the wall! No! Not like this, Papi. The Adepts are all going to be going down. Gateway, Warp Gate is still not done. The boys have to be pulled, but there are so many Lings available. The pylon is going to get shut down. Warp Gate will not finish. The Oracles, they're stuck across the map. Is this how it ends? No way. Not like this, Trigger. Not like this. We have some shield batteries on the way into the main base. The Lings are focusing down that cyber core. Every single boy is pulled. Trigger knows he has to finish Warp Gate. He has to repower this wall. Ugh. But he's going to lose so many probes in the process. The Oracle races back home. 8 probes go down. Shield batteries will be finishing in the main, and they will actually keep these probes alive. The wall is repowered. Warp gate will complete. But that was a scary moment. That was a terrifying moment for Trigger. The game was about to end. The game was almost over, Papi. That was all the production depowered as well. More probes getting picked off. But bearing in mind, as another probe is focused down, bearing in mind that Erik did cut drone production for this. He did make a swell of Lings, and we do have 3 Oracles. Trigger is going to be going for a counterattack. We have Spores, but 3 Oracles can ignore a Spore. They can just dive into a mineral line anyway, and I imagine the pressure is on him to do so. There we go. He dives on top of a Queen instead, and we'll get that Queen. Good pick off for Trigger. Meanwhile, we have another Link Flood going across the map. This third base, I don't think it's going to finish. The Oracle's once again racing back home, but Trigger is going to be just contained onto 2 bases. Ah. Ay, ay, ay. Here we go. The Lings once again just containing Trigger here. We have a lair on the way. I'm flustered right now. I'm flustered. The game almost ended. The game just straight up almost ended. We do have a transition point. We do have that Forge and Twilight Council on the way. I imagine Trigger is going to be looking to transition into Blink and +1. Could go into Charge, but Blink is the much more standard follow-up here. Ling's looking to try and get some more damage. Oh, the gateways are actually depowered. Trigger forced to depower his own gateways. He wants a sentry. Won't get it. Finally, Trigger can expand. Finally, he can take his third. I just want to see that moment. I want to see the moment in the chat, man. And here we go. We have a Dark Shrine. I mean, Trigger, he's got to do it all. He has to do everything he can to recover from what's been going on. Another Link counterattack. No shield battery is ready. We do have a force field that is going to be buying some time for a slow warp in. The Links desperately want to get on top of that sentry. He wants it, Papi. He wants it. Up, up. Oh, and he doesn't get it in the end. Nice defense overall by Trigger. Meanwhile, Erik is in the dark. He's going Lingbane Hydra, by the way, which is not a bad composition, especially against Blink Stalkers. But Trigger, there we go. Blink is on the way. I was curious if he was going to invest into that or go into Charge, because he had a Dark Shrine on the way, so for Charged Archon as a follow-up. But no, it is going to be Blink. Oracle's looking for some more damage. Oh, they do spot the Hydras. Do get that revelation off to confirm. And do we have detection available? That's the question. No, we do not. We don't have an Overseer right now, so Trigger can defend this third base with DTs. Even though Erik is going to be hitting a very strong timing. There we go. The first DTs are being morphed in. Oh, they do reveal themselves. The Banelings do get blocked off by those force fields. And the DTs, they're doing a lot of work. The Banelings are going to try and detonate on them, but alas, they cannot. Trigger holds with the power of the DT. Oh, the Banelings. I think he wants a manual detonation. No, he doesn't get them. The DTs survive. But at least he gets a third. Does he? Ooh. Third, it does barely go down. This was an expensive fight, by the way, for Erik. Looking at the unit loss tab, 8 Hydras went down to these DTs. 8 Hydras. If it wasn't for the DTs, Trigger may just be dead right now. Erik is forced back, transitioning once again, throwing down a Spire. Let's go. Oh no! Oh no! Buffy! Being a little bit too greedy, he dives on top of the Oracle, but the stasis trap will finish. The Hydra's wiggling and jiggling there, waiting for their moment to dive in. DTs were morphed into these Archons. We have shield batteries, we have cannons. Trigger is once again preparing himself for a big push. But does he have the units for it? That's the question. There is no overcharge. The Nexus still has not finished. The target firing, Erik, he focuses down at least one of those Archons. He's going to try and get the second. Gets the cannon instead. He's flooding Lings behind this. This base will not finish. Trigger, try as he might, he cannot take a third. We have disruptors. We have purification overs. That will change things. First Nova goes off. Oh no! Ooh, only 2 Hydras go down. Decent splits from Erik. We needed more than just 2 Hydras, Papi. And the Lings are reinforcing across the map. Erik getting on top of this army. There's not enough to support the Archons. They're going to go down. The Disruptor as well. Trigger is on the run. He doesn't have a lot left, Papi. He doesn't have a lot left. Another Nova. Oh, a juicy connection on those Hydras. But that's okay because we still killed the 3rd base. We get the 3rd. We get 1 Disruptor. We want another. He wants the Disruptor, Papi. He's going to get it. He gets both disruptors. Ay, ay, ay. And the 3rd. Erik is overextending a little bit here. Oh, he's gonna take a Nova to the face, but the Lings just keep on flooding. Erik doesn't know fear. There is no F in Erik. He has no fear. He just floods on in anyway. You think he's gonna calm down? He is not. GG gets called. Erik takes the series 3-1, and he is our very first Tenacious Turtle Tussle champion. That's the wrong button. One moment. There we go. Fala galera, papi. Fala galera. Erik, he does it against all odds. Again, Trigger is an amazing player. He's one of the best players in North America. He's up there with Estrella, with Neve, with Scarlet. He's one of the best. But Erik comes out of nowhere. Comes out of Latino America, papi. Comes out of the pond. Oh, no. Okay. Comes out of the pond. And he does it all. He does it all, mate. He is our champion. El campeón. Fala galera. Obrigado. GG, papi. GG. Oh my god. Congratulations, Erik, on taking down such a powerful Protoss player as well. I know we've been hyping up Erik when it comes to his ZVZs. He's been doing so well against Dark in these recent weeks. But now to take down Trigger, I think that's maybe the strongest Protoss player that Erik has brought down so far. I think yeah, I think so. Last week he played against MaxPax. He had a pretty close series against MaxPax. Wasn't able to defeat him, but against Trigger here, damn. Erik, the Cranky Duckling himself. GG, well played. My condolences to Trigger. Of course, he still walks away with some money. He still does get that 2nd place trophy, that 2nd place prize pool, but Erik is our champion. He's my champion. Oh my god. Wow. Wow. Hold on. I'm messaging Erik right now. Can we get him in call? We've had an interview with Erik before. We've had interviews with Erik before on this channel. It was I believe the Ay, let's go, Papi, let's go. We've had an interview with Erik before. It was when he won the Age of Empires tournaments. I say that. It was a StarCraft tournament that Darking ran, and the winner would get a free copy of Age of Empires 4. And we did actually interview Erik when that did happen, but oh god. Here we have him, the man of the hour. The mighty Duckling himself from Brazil, the champion of the Tenacious Turtle Tussle. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Erik. Erik to the call. Oh, Papi.
What the hell are you doing?
Erik, what's going on, Papi? Mate, you beat Dark 2 weeks in a row. And now you beat Trigger here in the grand finals? Talk to us, Papi. Talk to us. What's been happening, Erik? how much have you been practicing? What have you been doing? How have you been changing your ZVP? Talk to us.
I've started practicing at the start of this year a little bit, and then in February I started practicing a lot more. So 2 months more or less. ZVZ was always my best matchup, but I had a few raw patches with it. In the meta, I didn't know exactly how I wanted to play and stuff like that, but I think I've figured it out. And since I have a pretty unique style, I don't think people are used to playing against it. And honestly, I think I can beat basically anybody in the world, especially considering it's TVZ. It's kind of coin flippy.
True, Bobby. True. I mean, hey, you beat Dark 2 weeks in a row. You know, and you can bring anyone down. I believe. But
yeah.
What about your other matchups? Because a couple of days ago, you were in our you posted in Discord. You were saying how you were still like kind of finding your footing. You were finding your place against Terran and against Protoss. Have you found your place yet? Are you still looking? Like, how are you finding yourself in those matchups?
It's really hard since the Queen Transfuse nerf, because I feel really confident when I'm being the aggressor in the matchup and I can control the tempo. And that's really hard to do as Zerg without queens and without anti-air. So I tried playing with more defensive styles, going for roach baning and stuff like that, and it just wasn't working. It was terrible. I just couldn't play well with it. So I was basically like, oh, okay, whatever. I don't care about playing standard anymore, and I just started trying a bunch of different aggressive builds. So I think my ZVP is really 8 or 80. It's basically when the aggression works, it works, and then I win the matches. And when it doesn't work, I just look stupid and I lose to the first Protoss push. ZVT is a bit of a different spot because I feel like I can play macro, but it's just so boring playing against ghosts. So I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah. I think that's an issue that a lot of Zerg players are running into, where coming into this like split map scenario with like Thor Ghost or Bio Tank into Ghost, like it's so dull. And a lot of Zerg players want to end it early, you know. They don't want to play like that. They want to try and hit a certain timing, and sometimes that like works against them a little bit. And I think we saw that from you a little bit as well in your series against Vindicta, especially. But yeah, I do know that it can sometimes be difficult being the one controlling the tempo in a ZVT specifically. Like it's sometimes against what Zerg is supposed to do in that matchup. But yeah, mate, today, you know, when you say that, mate, when ZVP works for you, it works, mate. It worked today. It was it looks so good.
It really worked.
Oh my god. Papi, mate, when you went for the proxy hatch, for the cancel, for the creep, outside triggers natural, mate, that was wild, mate. That was wild. I haven't seen you do that before. That was beautiful, Papi. That was beautiful.
Yeah, I haven't done it. I used to do a build when Skytoss was in the meta. I don't remember what map pool we had back then. But it was basically a pull first into a 3 queen, getting the fertile away third, and then you just walk with the 3 queens across the map and just sit in front of their natural transfusing and just not letting them get a third. And it was pretty good. And then they nerfed transfuse. And I was like, okay, what kind of stuff can I do to try to be aggressive again? And the only thing I could think of was queen pushes. So I just thought, okay, let's do the proxy hatch with the queens and do the same thing I used to do back then. So that's how I came up with it.
Yeah, it looked really good as well, just because it wasn't just denying the third base, but like Trigger, I don't know if you saw the replay or if you saw his reaction, like he was terrified. Like he threw down 3 shield batteries. He was like chronoing out his units. Like he thought that a queen push was coming his way, and you were just chilling. You were just droning behind it. It looks so smart. Like it's so good. It's so good. It's always a treat to watch you play, just because you have such a unique style and such a unique like way of playing StarCraft. It's beautiful.
It's really cool, right? And the cool thing is that you can actually all win with that build too. You can just go for it.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to play against more gateways. That's what I'm having trouble with. If the guy drops like 2 or 3 more gateways, but I still think it can work and can be pretty good.
For sure, for sure. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know. It's just been it was really surprising. Like I believe that you could make it through to the finals, but when I saw Nice in the bracket, I was like, oh, that's gonna be a tough one. But you even brought down Nice as well. So some really, really good results here today. And yeah, is there anything else like special about how you practice? Is it just ladder? Do you have like practice partners as well that you work with that maybe you work on some builds with, or how's that work?
Right now it's just ladder because I'm still trying to figure out my groove. So until I have something more defined, even ZVP or DVZ is kind of defined. I don't feel the need to practice as much, but in ZVP I'm still trying to find what works, what doesn't, what I feel comfortable with. So playing against someone I don't know how useful it is in this current time of my practice.
Yeah, that makes
By
sense.
the way, what did you think about the Swarm host build in CVT?
Mate, I was losing my mind, mate. when you threw down the infestation pit, I was like, wait, is this Swarm host? There's no way he's making Swarm host, right? And then he makes 6 Swarm hosts. I'm like, he's crazy with Burrow as well. Oh my god, that was
because Swarm hosts are actually insanely cheap. So a scan is more expensive than a Swarm host. So if you start scanning around to get my Swarm host, he's just going to be losing money. So you can actually be even with workers against Tyrant if you do that.
Wow, it was so smart as well because you made those 6 Swarm hosts and then you made 2 infestors behind it, and you forced Smile all in basically. Like you forced him to push out, and when he did, there wasn't even a fight. But he scanned, he saw your infestors. He's like, oh, I can't do anything. Like it's just over. It's crazy. Like, yeah, it was just really well thought out. I that's another one of those builds that I haven't seen before. Like I've never seen anyone else do something like that. It's crazy. Yeah,
I just started doing it because I was trying a bunch of 1 base and 2 base Muta in ZVT, and it just wasn't good. So I saw a game on someone's stream, I don't remember who, and he was basically complaining about how cheap Swarm hosts were and how stupid it was. And I was like, okay, why don't I just make Swarm hosts then? Because it's basically a better 2-base Muta. So that's why I started doing it.
There you go. Yeah, that sounds like a big game stream. I don't know.
I don't remember who it was.
Oh my god. But yeah, that's really wild. It's really interesting as well because the reality is that there are very few players that make their own builds. A lot of players, they just, they follow the meta, they look at what the Koreans are doing or the Europeans are doing, and then they try to refine themselves and emulate them. There are very few players out there that try to do their own thing and that are innovative. There are some of them like, Miyamaika does his own thing, sometimes there are some other Zerg players or Haas, right? Or even Coffee for the Terrans. So yeah, it's really cool to see that kind of come into form. And I really look forward to see how you perform in ESL Masters, because for those who don't know, you're also going to be competing in that as well.
Yeah, let's hope the builds work there too, and my aggression against Protoss works there.
Oh god, yeah. I wish you the best. And thank you so much for playing in this tournament as well. This is kind of like our version of Batalla de las Americas. Like we're trying to bring it back. Every 2 weeks we're gonna be hosting this. So I hope to see you again. Hope to see you again in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and thank you for hosting the tournament. It was really fun to play.
Definitely. And Erik, do you have anything you want to say, to the fans, to the people? Turkey Dano showed up. He was cheering for you in the chat as well, for his Brazilian brethren.
Thanks for cheering for me, and if you guys know of any crazy builds that I can use and be aggressive against Protoss or Terra, you can send me on my Discord or something like that.
There you go. If anyone's got any crazy, like Diamond or Master Replay even, I'm sure Erik can find something to extract from that as well. Yeah, GG, Papi. GG, well played. Good job, man. Good job. And don't forget to join the match arena so we can pay you out.
Yeah, I think I joined already. Thanks.
Yes. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Ciao. Fala, galera. Oh my god. There you go. There you have it. There you have it. Very, very short impromptu interview with Erik. If you guys maybe didn't get to see the ZVT that he played, we were talking about his series against Smile, where Erik went for 2 base Roach into an infestation pit, into 6 swarm hosts, and then 2 infestors behind it. It was crazy. It was and Burrow as well. It was a very technical game that he played on Ancient Cistern. So again, I highly recommend you checking out the VODs if you missed them, or checking out the replays, because we do send out replay packs to all of our subscribers on Twitch and also to our patrons as well on Patreon. So yeah, what a day, what a tournament. ! Patreon in the chat if you want a link. Of course, our Patreon supports not just this tournament, but all not just this tournament, but all the tournaments that we host. It is all funded by, or can be funded by, the community. So there you go. If we appreciate any support that you are willing to give, whether it's subscribing, whether it's becoming a patron, or even just following the channel. We do appreciate it. And with that, GG. GG, well played. I have to quickly update the challenge page as well, and yeah, I hope everyone had a great time here. I hope everyone enjoyed themselves. This is, of course, the first edition of our new tournament, and we're going to be hosting it as often as we can, every 2 weeks. If we do hit a certain milestone on Patreon, this will become a weekly tournament. A weekly tournament where you can get your dose of Latino Americans up against the Southeast Asians, up against the North Americans as well. There we go. And with that, we're done for now. Because we of course are going to be live once again in a couple of hours for the ESL Open Cup Asia. That is going to be, let me just double check here. In 45 minutes. We're going to be live once again in 45 minutes. So ideally we lined it up so that this tournament would end, and then ESL Open Cup will start up straight afterwards as well. So back-to-back broadcasts here for the Cranky Ducklings. Yeah, I hope you guys had a great time, and be sure to follow us and be here once again for the next edition of this tournament. There you go. Until then, I guess technically I could go on a wait screen for 45 minutes, but I don't think that's a wise choice. We're gonna be raiding someone out there in the Twitch sphere. Another StarCraft streamer, so give them some love, give them some support. We're going to be back in 45 minutes for ESL Open Cup Asia, so we're not done for today. We have some Korean StarCraft coming at you. Your Darks, your Cures, your Creators, your Hero, Classic, Gumiho, Byun. If you're interested in some Korean StarCraft, 45 minutes is all you have to wait before we are live once again. And until then, we're going to be heading off for the night. So thank you so much for the love. Thank you so much for the support. We'll see you guys in 45 minutes. Bye.